With the release of the Sonic 3 trailer, there's been a ton of excitement and speculation as to where the conclusion to this epic trilogy will take us. While the trailer set up a darker tone for this installment, it did a really good job at not giving away too much and leaving most of the plot a mystery even to us hardcore Sonic fans. So, as one would expect, many have been pulling apart this trailer frame by frame for any clues that we can find. One of the biggest mysteries from this trailer is the fate of Sonic's father figure, Tom. I do believe that with this being the conclusion to the trilogy and the darker tone that this movie is going for, we're going to lose some characters along the way. So today, I want to break down every character who I think will be meeting their untimely fate and why that is. The first character might seem a bit random. However, Commander Walters, aka Commander Olive Garden, might end up being the earliest death in this film, and I think his death is going to lead to our heroes taking things a bit more seriously than before. Since the very first film, the government has been in opposition to Sonic and his friends, fulfilling a similar role that they play in the games. However, at the end of Sonic 2, it seems like they may have had a change of heart, realizing that Sonic and his friends are valuable allies to hold in their back pocket. In the trailer, we see Gun working alongside Team Sonic in order to thwart Shadow. This is an alliance that isn't very common, and I think it's something that we're going to see fall apart in the movie. As the commander of Gun, Walters already knows about Project Shadow, as he states in Sonic 2.
My God. Project Shadow.
And it's likely that in some way he may have been involved with it in the past. We also know that while Gun was created after the events of the first Sonic movie,
after the events in San Francisco, a global task force was created, devoted to protecting our planet from alien threats. That day, Guardian Units of Nations was born.
It's been around for a while as a Shadow Ops military program.
I used to work for Gun as well. Though it wasn't called Gun back then. It was a military Shadow Ops program.
Now, I believe that Gerald Robotnik is pulling strings in order to free Shadow and seek revenge for Maria. I'll touch more on Gerald in a bit, but if Walters was involved in Project Shadow, he would be high on Shadow and Gerald's list for revenge. But for this theory to work, there has to be someone on the inside of Gun willing to help free Shadow and take out Walters. Someone who was noticeably missing from the trailer. Kristen Ritter plays Captain Rockwell, and we don't see her at all in this trailer. If you watch the Knuckles show, we already know that Gun is filled with bad eggs, ready and willing to make a move that will benefit them solely. My theory is that Captain Rockwell is Gerald's inside partner on this. Perhaps she hates that Walters is now working with Team Sonic or wants his position. Either way, I think that she will be involved in the freeing of Shadow. With Shadow free and presumably taking vengeance on those who wronged Maria, I think that despite Sonic's best efforts to save Walters, Sonic will fail, leading to him taking this threat a lot more seriously than ever before. I'm sure many of you are still wondering about Tom, because we see him in a Gun uniform calling out for Sonic. There are even theories that Tom could be related to the person who killed Maria. I just want to put it out there that I don't really believe this theory, and I think it would end up making things feel small in scale. However, that's just my opinion on the theory, and I could very likely be wrong. I do believe that Tom will be granted the opportunity to work with Gun due to his involvement with Sonic and his police training. In my initial trailer breakdown, I said that Tom could likely play an Uncle Ben role. He's taught Sonic a lot over the course of these movies and has been a great father figure in Sonic's life. And at this point, it feels like it's time for Sonic to chart his own course. Although I did initially believe we could see Tom meet his untimely end, the more that I think about it, I don't think he's going to die. But perhaps he'll be used as a plot device to make the audience more anxious about his fate. Leaving Maddie on her own would feel kind of cruel after everything we've seen these two go through. And while I do think this movie will be a bit darker, I don't think it's going to go that far. So solely based on the fact that these are fun for the family movies, I think that Tom's going to end up being okay in the end. Now for my final theory, we need to talk about Jim Carrey. After telling the world he was ready to retire, here we are seeing him not only reprise his role as Eggman, but also play his grandfather, Gerald Robotnik. Jim Carrey really helps elevate these films in my opinion with his cartoonishly evil portrayal of Robotnik, and I'm so glad we're seeing him at least one last time in the role. However, with him already stating that he's ready for retirement, I think the likelihood of him coming back for a fourth film is incredibly slim. I personally believe that we're going to see the end of Eggman in this movie, and there's a few things in the trailer that are also leading me to this conclusion. After Eggman's last defeat at the hands of Sonic, we can tell he became depressed and most likely basically disillusioned with ideas of grandeur. But now that Sonic is at his doorstep begging for his help, a fire has been reignited. I do think Eggman wants to show Sonic that he's capable of stopping a threat that Sonic can't, as a way to win back some of his ego. I also believe that he has a plan in his back pocket. I said this in my last video, and many others have also drawn this conclusion, but I believe that the quill that Sonic gives Eggman will eventually be used to create Metal Sonic. We know that at some point in the film, Eggman will encounter his grandfather Gerald, and at first I think Eggman's going to be really ecstatic about this, but slowly he's going to realize that his grandfather is completely out of his mind and needs to be stopped. There's a scene during the end credits of Sonic Adventure 2 that sort of foreshadows this possibility. Eggman talks about how much he looked up to Gerald, but begins to question if he seriously meant to destroy the world.
I looked up to my grandfather because of all the great things he accomplished in his life. He was my hero, and I wanted to be a great scientist like him. But did he really mean to destroy us?
I can see this playing out in the film, but with the dynamic of Gerald being alive. We know Eggman looks up to his grandfather and his brilliance, but I do think that Eggman is going to come to the realization that his hero isn't all he's cracked up to be. Now, how this goes about may vary, but I think in a moment of self-sacrifice, Eggman's going to redeem himself by taking Gerald out alongside himself. It's possible that Eggman could end up sacrificing himself to disable the cannon aboard the Ark, much like Obi-Wan sacrifices himself in Star Wars. While this would be a good end to Jim Carrey's portrayal of Robotnik and also allowed the character to evolve once again, I think that we will see something to the effect of Eggman's legacy being carried on through Metal Sonic in a post-credit scene. So that's everyone I believe won't make it to the end of the film, but let me know what you guys think about this list and my theories down in the comments, and let me know your own. Don't forget to check out Randy's channel, as we have a new podcast episode dropping soon where we talk about everything in the Sonic 3 trailer. You can also follow us on Spotify at the Speed of Sound podcast. Thank you all so much for tuning in, and I wish you all the best. As always, take care, peace.